Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you guys aren't familiar with this channel yet, hi, I'm Weena. I am a candidate for graduation from the Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing program of De La Salle University, Manila. I am a poet and have also written some fiction. And yeah, hi, this is my channel. I talk about books on here and I talk about life too. So today I just thought that I would kind of sit down and chat with you guys to do a little bit of a life update, because I know that the last one that I did was pretty down in the dumps and gloomy, and I guess life is just like that sometimes. It's okay to be sad, it's okay to be down in the dumps, you know, let yourself feel what you have to feel, but also celebrate the good things and celebrate when life is good to you. So I thought that I would do this video to kind of catch you guys up on what's been up with me, and please let me know in the comments too what's been up with you, because I would love to know. I also kind of wanted to do a mini reading wrap up for the past couple of months and also do an exciting kind of unboxing slash mini haul. So yeah, marami tayong gagawin. So buckle up, grab yourself a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. I contemplated having both, but it's already nighttime, and yeah, I've been drinking a lot this week too, so I do not want to have another drink today, maybe tomorrow. So here's my imaginary wine glass. Let's get started. The first life update I have already kind of touched on, which is that I'm finally graduating from my master's degree. Oh my gosh, like I'm so happy and so jazzed about it because I work full-time. My thesis was just so challenging for me mentally, because writing poetry, I think, occupies such a emotional place or such an emotional space in my life. And my therapist kind of talked about it as it's the kind of work that doesn't entail any doing. And so being very busy at my current work didn't really help make things easier. Plus we were traveling all the time. For those of you guys who don't know me in real life, you will not know this about me, but my current work is as a program assistant at the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. So I basically handle procurement, logistics, finance, and we also travel a lot, like the event coordination, event management, that kind of thing. So it's just been so crazy, and it's just like there were some nights on our missions where I would just want to go to sleep, but I couldn't because I had to write my thesis. My thesis was comprised of around 32 poems, and yeah, I went for a super duper theoretically heavy concept too. It had to do with old Filipino cinema, beauty standards, and also math and algorithms. So I don't know, at some point I feel like a lot of people were telling me, like, you know, you're crazy. Like, you know, you have to kind of find a way to simplify this and to give yourself a break. But I wanted to do that. But yeah, I won outstanding thesis, so I'm so happy about that. I'm so jazzed about it because I really put so much of my heart and soul and like blood, sweat, and tears into that thesis, and I'm so happy that my panel saw that. I was really nervous because to get the outstanding thesis, the decision has to be unanimous, and I was so afraid that some of them have different reading tastes, and I know that some of them, like, their body of work is not exactly in the same field or area as my thesis was, but I wanted you guys, and yeah, I'm just so excited to graduate, and I'm also so excited for what comes next. I'm excited for PhD, I'm excited to possibly teach, excited to write more, to get my shit published. That's also partly why I changed my channel name. For the longest time, I was Weena Wonders on here, and I still love that nickname. My Instagram is still Weena_Wonders, but I just felt like I needed to put my own stamp on my work because this YouTube thing takes up so much of my time, and it's still a work of art. It's still something that I am proud of. It's something that I put and birth out into the world, and which takes up a significant amount of my time. So I thought, why not put my name on it? I used to think your YouTube name had to be catchy or kind of fancy, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I think more and more we're kind of able to accept people for who they are and for the names that they have, which are not the easiest to remember. So yeah, My name's Wina Puangco, guys. And yeah, it feels right though. It feels right. Another life update is that Kevin and I got engaged. We are getting married in November and I'm just so happy. I know I don't share a lot of like my personal life on here, but I've known you guys for a long time, or at least most of my subscribers. And for those of you who are new, you guys are so nice, honestly, like in the comments and on Instagram. So I feel like I've known you forever too. But Kevin and I have been together for 11 years this year, which is just crazy to me because I still remember our first date where I was just like, oh my god, I was telling my friend Carlos who introduced us, like, he's so hot. I was like, your friend Kevin is so hot, I'm going to go out with him, alright? And yeah, and he was like, yeah, knock yourself out, girl. And yeah, it's just so nice. It's really so nice, and it feels so great to just be able to know that you found someone who really truly understands you and who you can tell anything to. For a while, Kevin and I were kind of going through our first ever like fight as a couple, because we're not the kind of couple that bickers or that you know, says mean things to each other. We're very like lovey-dovey and sweet and stuff. And in 2020 we kind of had our first I'd say grown-up like confrontation about what do we want, and you know, how do we want to go about things moving forward. And yeah, I was like, wow, that's possible. I mean, it's possible to be with someone and just have these conversations with them. It's just so crazy to me because in the past all of my relationships had been the kinds of relationships where you're kind of crazy, like frantic in love, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, I can't be here, I need to get out. Yeah, so I never really had the chance to be in this kind of relationship that is so kind and so giving and just overall so amazing. I feel like I'm gonna cry at my wedding, which I guess is normal, right? But yeah, I'm just really happy. And yeah, I'd invite you all if I could, but guys, mahal pa rin magpakasal ngayon, okay? Mahal kasi yung gas, so you know, mahal na lahat by default. I've also been reading a lot over the past few months. I really love reading on planes, and I've been on a lot of planes in the past few months. So I thought that I would talk about some of the books I've read with you guys. I'll just be taking them from this pile. This is not in chronological order because my memory for this year has just been totally shot. The first book I grabbed from my pile is Epithalamine by Nick Carbo. Nick Carbo is a Filipino-American poet. He is living in Hawaii, I think, or at least he's a professor in Hawaii, and Epithalamine is a collection of both his best older poems and some new, more avant-garde poetry. And I had the pleasure of meeting Nick on Zoom, and I also had the pleasure of hosting his book launch, like his virtual book launch, and it was so nice, like being able to meet him and know him. He's such a nice guy, and I really enjoyed his poetry too. I don't mean to sound so surprised, but it's just that I'm so familiar and like desensitized to the Philippine literary canon already that I kind of have something programmed in my head about, like, you know, what this is gonna sound like, what the syntax is gonna be like, the themes that it's going to discuss. And there are a lot of poems here that still talk about that, like diaspora, colonization, that kind of thing. But there are also some poems that are so innovative. Like there's one here that you can scan and then print, and then you can cut it into a box. Yeah, you can kind of like assemble it into a box. And when we asked Nick about it during the book launch, he said that the concept around this was like taking emotions or ideas or images and turning them into structures. The architecture of poetry, guys. I love it. I love stuff like that. And he also has some more like conceptual work that I think is actually being exhibited in Hawaii. So yeah, very interesting, and I really did enjoy this. The next one is another poetry collection. This is Good Bones by Maggie Smith. I bought this from Sir Ned Parfan, who teaches in UST and who was on my panel during the USD workshop. And yeah, just such good poetry. My favorite one is the title poem, which sounds so obvious. I always try to pick one that isn't the title poem just because I'm a hipster like that and it makes me feel better. But the title poem in this is just really so good. So I'll read you guys that. Good Bones by Maggie Smith. Life is short, though I keep this from my children. Life is short, and I've shortened mine in 1,000 delicious, ill-advised ways. 1,000 deliciously ill-advised ways I'll keep from my children. The world is at least 50% terrible, and that's a conservative estimate, though I keep this from my children. For every bird, there is a stone thrown at a bird. For every loved child, a child broken, bagged, sunk in a lake. Life is short and the world is at least half terrible. And for every kind stranger, there is one who would break you, though I keep this from my children. I'm trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor, walking you through a real shithole, chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. Man, that Maggie, oh, it's so good. And I regret kind of not discovering her earlier. I want to read more of her books, more of her collections. If you guys know any, and if you know any that are being sold in the Philippines, please let me know. And my major accomplishment of the past few months is I finally finished the 2 final books in the Neapolitan novels quartet. Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay, and The Story of the Lost Child. For those of you guys who are not familiar with the Neapolitan Quartet or the Neapolitan novels from Elena Ferrante, they are 4 books that follow the friendship of Elena and Lila, who are best friends growing up in an impoverished town in Naples. And it kind of talks about how friendships can be both mirrors and black holes, how you can kind of use your friends to gauge yourself and gauge your success, but sometimes they can also be black holes in the sense that you also give up your sense of self to be able to adjust and, you know, point your true north or the north of your sort of compass of your soul toward where your friends are going. And it's just crazy. It's, oh my god, I don't have the exact words to talk about how great it was, but it was riveting. Like I did not expect to get through the 4 books in the span of what, like 6 months or so, because it was such a wild ride. And these are not, like, the font of these is not very big and their margins are quite small, and each of the books is around 500 pages or so, 480 pages, something like that. And I just enjoyed it so much, and I'm going to do a separate video on that, on the whole thing, because I'm so excited to discuss it. It's just so good. I'm going to be watching the show too. I'm so excited to watch the show, although I'm also kind of scared that I won't love it as much, and also kind of scared about how sad it will be. But yeah, anyway, super duper good. And I guess that's it for the books that I've already finished. For the books that I'm currently reading, I only have 2. This is Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde, and these are basically collected essays of hers. I am currently on page 110, so this only has 188 pages, so I'm kind of almost done. My favorite essay in this so far is The Uses of the Erotic, which is an essay on eroticism and how eroticism pertains not just to sex and not just to what women have sort of come to learn as having to be objectified by men or having to be desired by men, but eroticism is also paying attention to the way that you love, the way that you work, the environment you're able to cultivate in your workplaces, in the places you create in. And it was just so good, like talking about using your senses and being aware and intentional of what's happening to you, what's happening to your work, where your thoughts go. It's so good. I'm also very fond of the last piece that I just read here, which is just a conversation between Audre Lorde and Adrienne Rich, who is one of my favorite poets. And yeah, I can't wait to finish this and I will talk about it more in my August wrap-up now, I guess. And the second book that I'm reading, actually, I am reading on my Kindle. This is my Kindle. Shout out to Ray, by the way, from Ray Reads. Nabudol niya ako dito sa Kindle cover. My Kindle's already purple, actually, so I thought that I wouldn't want the cover, pero he kept talking about it in his vlog, so I bought a purple one. And yeah, so I'm currently reading Persuasion by Jane Austen. I really miss my best friend Mars because she was like a big Jane Austen fan. She's like obsessed with Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, the works, and my favorite Jane Austen book has always been Persuasion, which maybe kind of, you know, tells you about how grim I can be. I really love Anne Elliot. I love her and Wentworth's perpetual estrangement. Like, I love that. It's my favorite Jane Austen book. And I watched the movie and everyone's right, you know, it sucks, but it made me miss this, so I'm rereading it. It's beautiful and it's sad, and I love that. That's comforting to me. So yeah, let me know what your favorite Jane Austen novel is, and also what your favorite Jane Austen adaptation is. I'm kind of surprised, like I've been listening to all of the vlogs and like all of the reviews just kind of roasting Persuasion the movie, and I'm kind of surprised that not a lot of people have talked about the Jane Austen book club, like the movie that came out with Emily Blunt, I think in 2005 or something. That was like one of the movies that got me really into Jane Austen, and I kind of feel like that might be why I'm biased toward Persuasion. But yeah, really good, really good. So sorry that the Netflix adaptation was so bad. We deserve better, guys. Now, on to the unboxing. This is from Paper Milk Books, which is run by my friend Shin, who you guys have probably seen on this channel before. He's better known as Electro Milk, doing like comics and stuff. But he also is selling books now, which is great because in the past, what we used to do is like ask Shin if he could like pasabay or do like a bulk order with us, like whenever we would order from Amazon and stuff. So it just makes sense that he is doing this now. I bought a couple of books. I actually have 2 other books too that are somewhere over there that I just bought from Shin recently. But I bought these ones because I've heard a lot about these books and these authors, but I've never tried anything by them before. So I thought it would be a good time to start because these are always sold out. Oh, Weena, congrats on all the good stuff. Thanks, Shin. Ah! And Shin sent his zine. He sent me another one, like in the package I unboxed last week. I love this. I love this blushing boy, like the color palette of that. Let's read a little bit of Shin's poetry. He always gets shy when I do this, but let's do it. Okay. New nature. I'm delighted now more than ever if by chance I could smell a flower before seeing it first, when the beauty travels a different direction through another filter that is not my eye or a stranger's viewfinder. I wonder if there's any more good thing left for me to discover, or if everything is truly found already. I just want to be reminded by myself that there is still something out there that can make me happy, that hadn't been touched by anybody, that I haven't lost yet. So good. Yeah. Follow Shin on YouTube, by the way, guys. He has a YouTube channel. It's his real name, Ronwell Del Rosario. So yeah, salo siya sa theme ng new names. We love that. We love that for us. The first book I got is the Bradshaw Variations by Rachel Kusk. I think this is a novel. Oh yeah, it just says a novel. Ano ba, Wina? I don't really know a lot about it. I just know that it's a little bit like that dark suburbia kind of feel, and I love books like that. The cover reminded me of The Safety of Objects by A.M. Holmes, so I wanted to check this out because I want to see if Rachel Kusk is going to be my vibe. I see a lot of people whose literary tastes I kind of vibe with, who really enjoy her work, so hopefully I will enjoy that. And the second book I got is When the Stress Falls by Susan Sontag. I think these are essays. Yeah, I haven't really read anything from Susan Sontag, so I'm very excited to read this because I'm kind of on a creative nonfiction binge right now. Well, except for Persuasion and some of the poetry, but yeah, I haven't really been reading a lot of fiction, and yeah, I just thought this would be a fun one to pick up, and I've heard so much about Susan Sontag. Let me know what your favorite Susan Sontag and Rachel Kusk books are, by the way. Yeah, in the comments if you have any recommendations or ones that you think I would like in particular. Let me know and I'll definitely get to them as soon as I can. I think that's it for this catch-up, you guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Please, like, it really helps so much. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram too. I'm more active there like throughout the rest of the week. So yeah. Bye.